It's the Chatty Patty Paula Talk Show.
We will talk about the things that mean so much to you, like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo. Clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Paula Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty Paula Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty Paula Talk Show.
Hi, welcome to our show. It's Monday, October 1st, episode 66. I'm Chatty Patty.
And I'm Paula Wallace. 66, October 1st.
Our special guest today is Mark Arminski. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
He's an awesome artist.
Mark is an artist. But tell us about all the different media you've worked in.
Almost everything, I think. I mean, I tattooed for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
We should do live tats.
Ooh.
Tats.
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be interesting. Paint, chalk, body painted. I body painted for a while.
Can you make people look skinnier?
You probably. I think you could if you had a black background and painted some black curves. Like, have you ever seen where they do that?
I've seen those dresses.
The dresses that go
you
like
probably
that.
could. It probably could. So.
Now, when you body paint on somebody, I don't know, this just fascinates me. Does it smear off easily?
I was kind of experimenting around, and it really started for Keith at Nor Leather. He had me at a couple of his events, and he asked me if I'd be interested in body painting. And so it was kind of like, from the get-go, it was, and this was a while ago, so I don't think if they had developed body paints, I didn't know where you got them, so I was just using acrylic paint.
Oh.
But I would make sure it was like non-toxic,
Yeah.
that it wasn't anything that I was going to be putting on somebody's skin that
Where's
was
your
going to hurt 'em.
favorite artist, your supply shop?
I really go for a matter of convenience, but up on, you really want to know? Is that like advertising for
Oh,
me?
I don't know.
Blick. Blick. Do you like Blick?
Yeah, because it's convenient. It's close
Yeah.
by. And they have most everything. But sometimes I have to go online and buy stuff, and you can get it cheaper online.
What's like the motherlode art shop that you can go to in this area?
I have no idea. Because
Well, do people just order online anymore?
I don't know what
Amazon?
other people do. Yeah, no, there's certain art stores, online art stores that offer free shipping if you buy so much. I know I
Yeah.
get when I buy paper, certain kind of paper, drawing papers and stuff, I buy it in bulk, and it's a lot cheaper.
Well, I know my daughter she's a filmmaker, but she's got to take all these drawing classes
Yeah.
at CCS. And I said, if they can teach her to draw, because she's not good, then they're good teachers. But we went to Blick to get supplies, and I didn't realize how many kinds of paper.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Don't they have a shop at CCS, an art store?
They do, but there's a Blick right there as well.
Okay, yeah.
And like gridded paper.
Oh, there's all kinds of paper.
What's gridded paper?
I have no idea. Probably gritty. They probably put something in there. It's gritty. Gridded, like GRID.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Gridded.
Well,
like
maybe
T.
that's what it was. She just had a list. No, it was gridded. Like, I think for sketching with pencil.
I have no idea.
There's so many kinds of pencils and
pencils, papers. Yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of art supplies.
You know, it'd be cool if you made a color by number Mark Arminski version.
Well, I'm going to do a coloring book.
Oh, that's a
That
great
would
idea.
be awesome.
I've already kind of priced it out and figure out where I'm going to get it done.
my
It's just
God.
a matter of getting the drawings together to do it.
I will get one because I
Okay.
like to color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to color.
Well, that's how I started, I think, when I was really little.
So,
Just color?
tell us about where you grew up and when you were really little.
Yeah, did you always draw? I mean, were you
my
always like...
mom said I always drew, but my siblings, would want something else, toys to play with. I always wanted crayons and coloring books. And I grew up around Livernois and 6 Mile, McNichols. And then my dad started doing well, so we moved out to the suburbs. But I was in my teens by then. But
So when did you discover, like, or other people say, wow, he's really good? I mean, or was it something like in middle school? Was
No.
everyone like, hey, make a flyer for me?
no one's ever said that.
Stop it. Oh, my God,
Stop
you
it.
rock.
I don't know. It's just something, and I didn't know that this was going to be my career path. But I tell people I was looking for a way to avoid getting a 9-to-5 job. And this is kind of what fell in place. So
You could work all night
I've
and
been
sleep
able to
all
do it.
day.
Yeah.
Now, some of this stuff, do you draw that by hand?
Well, some of my do. A lot of times, money and time dictated what I would do. A lot of times, I didn't have a lot of time to create an original piece. Or like this Primus one, I
So
do
this
that.
is what you're most known for, is American rock concert poster art.
I guess so.
What was your first one?
Oh, I have I'll show you an early one. As a matter of fact, I brought this for you, Paula. This I don't know if I'm supposed
Oh, the
to bring
special
gifts.
envelope.
Oh,
But
I
this
love
was
it.
an early piece that
my
I did, and I
God.
can't remember the guy's name I did it for.
I love it.
But and I think you probably have this.
Oh, wait a minute.
You probably have the poster of it. I don't know if these are the original handbills.
Oh, yes, I do.
Do you have this handbill?
I don't.
Okay.
That's really cool. So you drew that by hand?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Even those letters?
Yeah, looking back on it, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I found the focus or.
Like,
But that's
Here,
your
let
band.
me see if I
I
can.
know.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So point it out so they can. What's on
Vertical
there?
pillows.
Yeah.
A birthday celebration. Rob Tyner was the master of ceremonies. The date, December 12th, 1987.
So that's a while ago.
Yeah, Vertical Pillows was my band. Hysteric Narcotics, we always played with them. And the Orange Roughies, we
So
always
you
played
must
with
have
them.
been about 12 when you were playing in that band, right?
11.
Oh.
No, I was like 22, 21.
And then they got there's one more piece in here, and it's the black. What they did, Jim Shaw wasn't. They hadn't secured him as the
Is that
the
cool?
DJ. So they added that. Somebody else added that, and then printed some.
And then
reverse
it's
ones.
opposite.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
those
So
are
this
for
one's
you.
in black and white, which isn't normal for
Well,
for the rest of
somebody
your
just
work.
decided to flop it.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
Just,
I
Now,
remember that.
Did you go to
gig.
college?
I went to CCS, and I found it very frustrating, so one day I walked out. I think I was 12 credit hours short of graduating, and I was extremely frustrated because I knew I like to paint, but I knew that the reality was I wasn't going to get out of college or school and start selling paintings for 10 grand, so I took graphics classes. And most of the stuff that I was learning, I'd already been doing for a couple of years because I started hustling at a kind of a young age, working for agencies and things like that. And so it came to a point where I just didn't need it.
This is a crazy question, but do you ever do like art in ink, or do you do it in pencil first? Like ink, where you
No,
like,
that's that one. That one I gave you is all ink.
like
well, it's
like
not-
the original, like when
Yeah.
you first really?
Yeah, and
You
it's
just
the,
don't
the,
mess
the
up.
original is this big.
Okay.
Well, sometimes I'll no. I see what you're saying. Do I kind of sketch it out or lay it out first? Yeah, usually I do.
Yeah,
But then
because
certain things I don't.
I would just mess that up and then I don't know, have to erase. But you know, I just you're confident enough where you can draw something in ink and not mess up.
No. There's probably a little white out on the original in certain places, or you probably see a
I love
pencil line.
this.
But
So
Thank you.
Now there's-
these
Yeah,
are
you're
cool.
how many years worth of work is in this folder?
Well, there's probably 4 of these folders.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
I think I did over a 10-year period, and it doesn't. I kind of formatted everything to the posters are the same kind of format but much larger.
Because these are all large versions and small versions. You
These
made
are
them.
all yeah,
Yeah.
and these are all handbuilt. So once I started formatting things, I think that was like 94. But I'd been doing posters prior to that. I think so over a 10-year period, not including any offs, just these silkscreen posters. I did, I think 255.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was the offset pieces I did. Then there was the paintings that I did and the drawings. So I kind of when I sit back and I look at what I've done, I'm thinking, God, when did I have time to sleep or do anything else? But
I know.
So does this mean that you actually have seen all these bands,
No.
or no? Have
No.
you?
because a lot of you look, probably half of these are out of state venues.
So they just commission you?
Yeah, and there used to be when I started doing this, there were maybe about 4 or 5 artists around the country that were doing it, and they would kind of rotate different venues. They'd like the clubs in Cleveland would use me for maybe up 5 or 6 posters, and use the artist on there, and they just kind of rotate things around.
Do people when they commission you say, "Hey, I want a guy with glasses," or "I want teeth on it"? Like,
No, I try to stay away from that stuff. Sometimes for certain things I like a little feedback, but most of these I had 90. That's why I like doing them. I had like 99% total. My
That's cool.
limitations were what I had in my head
Yeah.
of what I should do to negative towards the band or things like that. A lot of the bands I didn't know anything about them, so I had to research them, find out what their fans like. And
now how do you decide like on colors?
let's go over this one.
Yeah. What are the easiest colors to work with?
I'm like art.
What are
I
the
got
easiest
to be,
colors?
I
Bad.
got to where I
I'm bad at
formulated
art.
this theory that I would use. Well, when you're silk screening, you always print from light to dark. So your lightest color goes down first, and
Okay.
the next darkest color goes down in values. And it got to be where it really didn't matter. I kind of got to know what colors, and I would try to change up on them all the time. But I realized usually black was the last color, and once I put the black down, everything ties together.
So you draw these out in black and white, and then add the
each
color.
layer is in black and white.
And then
So like for each color in here, like for this one, there's only 1, 2, 3 colors. There's white, red, and black.
okay,
So each layer has to have a piece of art that lines up.
so are they different layers? Like,
Uh-huh.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So
That's
how long does one piece take?
Well, when I was at Ghetto Press, we did a poster for Verve Pipe. That I did the art and the film. You got to have the shot the films done. You got to burn screens. So there's a number of steps you have to go through, and we did the whole poster in a day. But it looks like it. If you look at the poster, to me it looks like it was a day job. But they needed it quick. They needed something.
This just blows my mind. Like I don't know. I think colored pencils. Is it colored pencils?
What? It's ink?
The colors, or is it ink? It's ink.
Yeah, silkscreen ink. And when I left Ghetto Press, when Ghetto Press closed down, and I started working, and at that point, when Ghetto Press kind of disbanded, I was going to stop. And I approached a friend of mine, Sherwood at SFNA, and I've known Sherwood since high school, and he was printing for Ford Motor Company, doing real tight silkscreen printing for the automotive industry, and everything had to be exact. So I asked him if he wanted to try these posters, and the first one he did, which was this one, it's just a
I
two-color.
like that.
What's it say, Paula?
Afghan wigs and back.
And
The
Sponge is
odds,
on there.
Super Chunk, Scrawl, Polvo, and Sponge.
Yeah.
89X birthday bash at the Phoenix Plaza Amphitheater. I used to like going there.
Yeah.
I love that. So that's just one shade of green in different.
Yeah, and actually on the posters, because it's bigger, it goes actually from yellow to green.
Oh,
And there's
that's
certain
cool.
ways you blend the ink and that kind of stuff. But after he finished that piece, I didn't the black ink, the inks that he used were not poster inks. They were what he was used to using. And I looked at it and I said, you know what, thanks for trying, Sherwood, but I think I'm gonna. And this was a while ago, so I don't think if they had
What's happening?
body paint.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought I was somewhere else.
She was
for a
seeing if
minute.
we were getting any comments on Facebook.
We were getting a comment, and Jeff Giles says hi.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
he's a friend of mine who plays guitar.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
We used to try to have like comments on the screen, but it got technically
Oh,
weird.
it's
And
so much too. There's not enough
You
people
need
in
someone
this.
to, because
There's not enough people
we
in
need a
here.
producer.
I was asking Patty if you could get. I did another kind of podcast thing.
Yes.
And the guy could tell how many people were listening and from what country they were listening.
Oh, that
we're
is
not
crazy.
that advanced. See, this isn't a
You got to get
podcast.
advanced.
I know.
Yeah.
We need like a producer,
Yeah.
someone to handle us.
Yeah, there you go.
We need a handle.
A
Manager.
handler.
So I hear you were active in the Mackinac Island Music Festival.
yes.
Tell us your
I
role
love
for.
Mackinac.
Mary McGuire.
I love her. I've known her forever.
So she, I don't know how many years ago, moved up to the island and was running the Bureau of Tourism and living on the island, married, living on the island. And she started this. Apparently, there was a Mackinac Island Music Festivals 1 year prior to when she started, but she decided to start it back up. And to me, it was like, so I would help her, and I'd do the poster for it, and I'd get to go up there. And to me, it was a big party because they were all local people that would go up there. And, she'd put them up, and they'd play. And
Right, it was a bunch of Detroiters, Erica Stoffson and all those guys.
Yeah, Carol and Strio. And
Where would the actual festival be held?
well, the 1 year it was outdoors, right on the water. And I don't know if you're kind of dependent on the weather,
I
and,
know.
and if it's windy, people aren't going to want to sit outside. But the first year was okay, but it was a little cool. So they moved it indoors into there's a old. I don't know. It's the Peace. It's where they used to have peace conferences or something. But the auditorium has these big timber. It's beautiful, and it's a huge auditorium.
Oh,
So
like
then she started having it in there like a stage. There's a stage and a sound system. We had lighting.
Oh wow. Okay.
man, I
Seats.
wish
It
I would
was-
have played one of
Well,
There's
those.
always something to
Mary.
discover on Mackinac Island.
I loved it when I'd go up there. It was like
you think you've seen it all, but
Yeah.
you don't know.
I
yeah.
love it too.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I had a feel for it because doing the poster, we went there a couple times when I was a kid, and I was always really fascinated with it. To me, it was a really dark not a scary dark, but it was a spooky
Mackinac
kind of
Island was scary
mysterious.
to you?
Not scary at all.
Okay.
But it was mysterious to me, and I think
Yes.
maybe because of the Indian burial grounds and the bats.
There's a fort.
There's a fort. So
If there's a ghost, they'd be there.
yeah, and I loved it as a kid. I loved going up there. So
There's bats.
all the posters I did kind of had this wooded, dark kind of feel to them.
Oh,
And so, and Mary loved them. I liked doing them, and like I said, it was a big party.
man, I want to. She's not doing them
She's
anymore.
not doing.
'cause she's
She
not
moved
there.
off the island. Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the Mackinac Island Music Festival.
Yeah, I think it went on for 7 years. I think
I would love to stay at the Grand Hotel, but it's really expensive.
really expensive.
I know.
It's funny. I was up there one year with a buddy of mine. You can't even walk by there.
I know. You
Oh,
have
you
to
have
pay
to
to go on
pay
the
to
porch.
go on
Yeah.
the patio.
$15.
We were going to this party someone was having. Mary told us, and she said, "Just walk. You can." And the shortcut was to walk on the, in front of the hotel. And she said, "Just tell
On the
them
patio,
you're with
yeah.
me and you're with the music
Porch.
festival, and you can. They won't stop you." I was with a buddy of mine, Simon, and he used to work with the company that did the lights up there. So he was up there. I know Simon real well, and he's a Hispanic looking. He looks, he looks like he knows what's going on, and I we weren't dressed, so we're walking in front of the Grand Hotel. I want to say within 30 seconds, security was
They were on you.
yeah, they were on us, asking what we were doing there, and
Even if you act like nothing. Yeah, I belong here. No.
out of here.
So what about some art shows? Do you have anything coming up, or what
I
is
just
some
did one,
stories
Paula, was
to
that
tell?
the other night.
Oh.
That was just my paintings and drawings, no posters. I'm
That's when
kinda-
Paula reeled you in to be on our show today.
No, actually, it was prior to that.
Yeah,
wasn't
we were
it?
talking about it, but then I'm like, all right, Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I'll be going to California, to San Francisco. They have a poster expo there that's been going on for a number of years, and it's all the old '60s artists that are still around, that are still producing, and a couple of the younger guys, and and people from around the country. So it's for the artists and for dealers, and so I'll go out there and do that, and that's next month.
So you'll take a bunch of prints and sell them
I'll
and
take
stuff?
posters,
Cool.
yeah.
And are you friends, like in a network of people all
It's
making
funny.
concert posters?
It's a really tight community. I think I seem to get along with everybody.
Well, you're probably famous in that circle out there.
I don't know if I'm
Like
famous,
Mark
but
from
people
Detroit?
know. Yeah, people. But because we've been doing it since it started. Well, I went out there with Ghetto Press. Chris Doris and I went out there the first year they had it, and at that point I'd only made 11 posters, I think. So we took 11 posters. So and they kind of they kind of welcomed us out there. But they put together what's called a joint show, and they used to have them in the '60s. There were 4 or 5 main poster artists from San Francisco that were doing posters back in the '60s, and they would have these things called joint shows, and it was Stanley Mouse, Victor Moscoso. I list the names, but it doesn't. So they had one here in Detroit. Somebody put together, and it was Gary Grimshaw, Wes Wilson, and Stanley Mouse, because he's from Detroit. And Wes Wilson is like the grandfather of the psychedelic rock poster. That's what they claim, or the father. But
He invented it.
He invented it, supposedly. So, and he did. He's been doing it for a long time. He does really nice stuff. So they included me in the show, and I didn't feel like I belonged with these people. It was kind of like, these are.
But
these are,
do it.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it, and they welcomed me in. It was really, really nice. So at that point, it kind of gave me a little bit of a name on the West Coast, and with people tied to West and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Have you ever had like a corporate job where you've made art for a company, or have you always just been your own?
yeah, for Ray. No, not Ray. What was the glasses? It was a glass company.
Oh,
Ray-Ban?
the Sexy Specs?
No, I can't remember.
Sexy specs.
There's been a couple. I did a festival for. God, I can't think. I have a mental block for these things now, but it was a beer.
No, but
Beer
I'm,
goggles.
No, Yeah. Joe's
or one
beer
of those,
guy.
one of those hats.
Yeah,
No, I mean, like, did you ever have
Yeah.
like a 9 to
A big-
5 where you were like the artist for all of their corporate?
Oh no!
Stuff.
You mean a steady job?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I haven't,
No.
I haven't had-
I don't know. What,
A
I don't know
steady
that word.
job. What are you talking
I
about?
What's
haven't had-
that?
I haven't had a steady job.
So you've always done your own thing.
It's funny. When I was in high school, we had a neighbor that had a real successful engineering company, and he invented this dye transfer system. So he did real well, and his engineering company worked for. I think Ford was his main client, but he was really well off, and he had a really reputable company, and I think I was still in high school, and he realized that, or he felt that I needed some kind of guidance. I was not your most
Oh,
So he gave me a job. He said, you're gonna
You
need
needed a little
job.
push.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. So he hired me as a detailed draftsman because my math skills were good. I liked that kind of detailed drawing. So I would go in there, and one day after, I don't know how long I was working there, and it was a good job. He called me in his office. He goes, "Listen, you're real good at this. I'm going to send you to apprentice school." And he brought me this big oak drawing board, and he says, "I'm going to send you to apprentice school." And he said, within 3 years, he laid out my whole future. He told me, you're going to be making this much money. You'll have this career, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking as he's saying this, wait a minute, I have a house and I have house payments on, I have 2.5 kids. And
You're thinking of all the burden that comes along with
and
success.
I said, I'll never do art again. And so I thought about it for a week. And I went in there, and his name was Hugh Sophie, and he was a great guy. He since has passed away. But I said, Hugh, I can't do this. I'm going to quit.
it's going to suck the life out of you.
Yeah. And so he thought I was making the biggest mistake, but he understood. I quit and just started. At that point, I started hustling and, working for ad agencies, freelance, and things like that.
Yeah, you could freelance all day.
Yeah. But I couldn't envision myself going in and doing the same thing 5 days a week, same hours, same job for the rest of my life.
Well, what keeps you in Detroit? What are some words you'd put out there about why you love the city, and what keeps you here?
I think just friends, and this is what I know. I'm probably less, and I hate to say this, admit it, I'm less excited about Detroit now than I was 10 years ago. I think Detroit is outsourcing a lot of. There's tons of artists here, and they're bringing in these artists from out of state. I shouldn't be saying this, and I understand why they have to do this. They have to promote Detroit and pull people in if they're going to be successful. But I would be doing the same thing if I were in Minnesota, if I were in California. We talked a little bit. I'd be doing the same thing. So it's not so much the environment, but what keeps me here is
Your people are here, your friends,
exactly.
and that you've known forever.
Exactly.
Were you in Kalamazoo? Did I read something where you did?
Well,
work in
I
Kalamazoo?
did a workshop there, and it was a lithography, a stone lithography. We were actually putting an image in these big stones, and
Wow.
What's lithography?
Lithography is how they used to print books and lithographs, and it's the same thing now with when they print on a press with a zinc plate, where not a zinc plate but a aluminum plate, where it's just a form of printing, but they used to do it on these stones that were like this thick and this big, and you'd have to draw into the stone and burn the image
caveman
in there.
stuff.
Oh yeah, but it was cool. So I actually I've got a lithograph somewhere around, but I was the only guy that came from out of the area. It was through the Kalamazoo Institute for Arts.
You were the expert that they called
No,
on?
I was the only person that came from out of anywhere else. Everyone was in Kalamazoo, and I came from out of the
you were
area.
the special guest.
Well, no, I just
Yeah, you were a
wanted-
special guest.
I just wanted. Well, I think as a result, what was nice is the guy that put it on. His name was Dr. Robert Johnson, and he's pretty well known, and in what he does. And he actually, I felt a little funny about this, but I think he realized how interested I was and fascinated with the whole process, and that I was willing to come and stay there for 4 days. Of course, my sister lived there, so she put me up. But so it didn't cost me any money. But he actually printed off this thing, and he had one left over, and he ended up giving it to me in front of the rest of the class. And I felt a little bit funny about that, but I think he recognized that I was
Teacher's pet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got a blast from the past. Ditto machine.
Ditto
Do you remember ditto machines?
I remember mimeograph machines.
Is it the thing that the ink smelled really good and it was always purple?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
No. But I know they used to. Sinclair used to print a lot of Grimshaw flyers and
With dittos?
newspaper, yeah. I think if the mimeograph machine is the same thing, that's what it was.
I don't know. If anybody's watching, is mimeograph the same as ditto machine?
And where can you get one? Paula wants one.
I want a
yeah?
ditto machine. And remember carbon paper?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't even that long ago, was it?
I know, but they don't
No,
really.
you can still buy it.
Remember
when?
Remember the credit card thing? Then you had to go like this with a credit card with the copy of the machine. Yeah.
It's just
Well,
cool.
someone posted something on Facebook. Not using numbers, can you name something that will give away like how old you are? Like, for example, and I use numbers. I growing up in Detroit, there were no zip codes. So I lived in, you'd put zone 21. That's
Oh, really?
Zone 21. And there was no area codes on the phone. I even remember my phone number from this. So it was University 18647.
Ours was Slocum.
Slocum. Oh, yeah, SL.
Slocum
What?
75.
Did
Yeah.
you grow up in Detroit?
Fun.
Uh,
What did it stand
Warren.
for?
Warren.
I mean, how does Warren get, he gets Warren out of Slocum?
I don't know what that even
What it
means,
stands for.
Slocum. It was
Somebody's name, maybe.
instead of an
You know
area
what?
code,
I
it
do
was
remember my mom's was Oxbow, and I thought that was a cool one.
Where was that?
In southwestern Michigan.
Oh, Oxford.
That's kind of cool. Oxbow.
St. Joe's area, right?
Yeah, St. Joe.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know what it stands for though.
But yeah, we were zone 21. And then they,
Wow. I had never heard of the zone
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Now, let's talk a minute about, I've been to your house, and you just have the coolest collection of everything.
Crap.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You had a garage sale recently.
Well, I have to make room in my garage, and it's stuff that I haven't used in years. And the house, the garage is full of stuff from my mom, from my brother who stayed there for a while, from my house. So it's just stuff that I haven't used, and I have cooler stuff at the storage space, but they keep jacking up my rent every couple months, and it bugs me. So I want to get everything out of the storage space into the garage. More cool stuff.
Because you have like the coolest taxiderm. What do you call them? Dead animals.
Taxidermy.
Dead animals.
Animal heads.
Yeah.
No,
No,
but-
full.
Full body.
I've got a coyote that sits by my front door that I've had people come to the front door, and he's so real looking.
He
He's
is.
such a
I
good
got
one.
freaked
That's
out.
like museum worthy. Like
His house is
Some
like
of
a
the stuff,
museum.
some of the stuff I have, yeah, but now you know my dog Sarah.
I love your dog, Sarah.
Sarah is so good with it. She's never tried to chew it up or do anything
She
with it.
lays with it, doesn't
well,
she?
The coyote's kind of on an angle with his head turned towards the front door. And I've had people come to my front door and not want to come in and say, "Is that real?" And then so I'm thinking
It's
of getting
gonna
a
get
little,
ya. It's
well, I'm getting a little recorder that'll give a
Yeah.
low growl that when somebody comes to the door, it'll kind of growl a little bit. But Sarah's taken to now. It used to be when I would leave Sarah alone, I'd come home and she'd come from another room or come to the front door to greet me. Now she's taken to laying. I think I showed you a picture.
She lays with that.
Well, she lays on the same angle with her head turned exactly the same way, just staring at the front door. I don't know if she thinks.
That's her buddy.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I got this bizarre dog that.
His dog is so cool. Very frisbee oriented. Like
Very
if you
frisbee.
throw it once, you're cooked. You're,
Oh,
and
yeah.
treat.
Oh
treat.
yeah.
yeah. And you like to cook too.
I do, but it's hard cooking for your one person sometimes.
You know,
So
people.
if anybody out there listening wants to come over,
I will.
Or cook for you. How about
that
that?
salmon looked amazing.
yeah. I don't. My friend Kumiko's a gourmet.
Oh,
chef. She's cook, so she's learned and taken classes, and that's not what she does for a living, but she knows how to cook. So when she comes in town, I eat like a king. I actually I put a picture of what she's cooked for me up on my Facebook, and then when she left, I put a can of Campbell's soup and something else. I said, well, Kamiko's gone. I'm back to my old meal, whatever, or TV dinner or something like that. But I kind of try to take what I've watched her do and helped her do and utilize it in something, because it's all a matter of just mixing stuff together.
Does she make like a lot of Japanese kind of?
She can.
Oh,
She
man.
likes to put a twist on. Like my brother was in town once when she was here, and my mom was still alive, so we were all staying with my mom, and he made some guamki. You know what guamki
Oh,
is?
yeah, stuffed cabbage.
So he made, and she'd never had it before. So she went home and tried to make it for her friends, but with a little Japanese twist to it, you know.
Oh.
Well, it's time to end our show. We
Oh.
want to
Oh.
thank Mark Arminski for joining us here
Oh.
today.
So
Well, thank
It's
you.
Chatty
yeah.
Patty.
Paula Walla
Talk Show.
Hello, hello, hello. It's the Chatty Patty Paula Walla Talk Show. Hello, hello, hello. It's the Chatty Patty Paula Walla Talk
We
Show.
will talk about the things that mean so much to you, like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo, clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the